Hi there. We're going to do a 2-point perspective drawing that's going to surprise you and amaze your friends. No, but seriously, you're going to need a piece of paper and a ruler and a pencil. If you don't have a ruler, don't worry about it. You can just kind of follow along and draw as straight as you can, which might be straighter than I can draw on this. Anyway, what you're going to start with is a line indicating your horizon, aka the horizon line. And I'm going to label that point A and point B. So what I'd like to have you do now is draw an intersecting line that crosses that horizon line that's going to indicate the corner of the building that we're going to draw. So draw a line straight up and down. In this particular type of drawing, your verticals are going to stay vertical and your horizontals are going to be the things that fluctuate and move. So keep that rule of thumb in mind. All right, now we're going to draw some orthogonal lines. Keep these light. You're going to keep some of the line and erase some of the line. So you're going to draw from point A to the top of that intersecting line and to the bottom of that intersecting line. Same thing on the B side. You've got something that looks kind of like a kite. So I like to have a clear ruler to do this. Clear rulers really help because then you can see how far you're sliding things and how big you're making things. So what I'm going to have you do is draw two parallel lines, and those are going to indicate where the building ends on either side. So these lines are going to be parallel to that first corner line you drew. So I'm going to move my ruler over to the left, draw a vertical line, move my ruler to the right, draw a vertical line, and then I'm actually going to erase some of this orthogonal line. Now, you don't have to erase it if you don't have a good eraser. One thing you could do is to bold that line in, that line, the top lines, so that you know that you're going to keep those lines. Okay, this is the start of our building. So I'd like to show you how to put a door in, and I'm going to put in a garage door, just because I'm going to make this a bit of a house. And so, like I said, all your vertical lines are going to stay vertical, straight up and down, and your horizontals are going to fluctuate. So in order to get this garage door to look proper, I'm going to use orthogonal lines coming from point A, if I'm working on the A side here, and they're just going to fan out. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to bold it in. So there is my garage door. Now you can do some fancy framework here if you want to. Just indicate that. And again, if you want to erase, you can. There we go. I'm going to put a window in my B side, and I'm going to do that on the second floor. Same thing, the orthogonal lines, the horizontal lines are going to fluctuate from point B, and to frame in that window, oops, let's get a line here. To frame in that window, nice fan out. I'm going to do some vertical framing here, and I'm going to bold in what I want to keep. And if I want to separate that window into mullions, or like the window panes, I'm going to do that. And if I wanted another set of panes, draw myself another line coming from that vanishing point. And I'm going to do a little erasing here, just so things don't get too confusing. Can you see that? Okay, I'm going to put a window in over here. Same thing, coming from point A, going across there. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of a framework here, keeping that vertical. And I'm going to put a round window in, just for the heck of it, so this doesn't look so much like a prison. And I'm going to work on a door over here. So again, I'm going to give myself some orthogonal lines just for the framework of the door, just so I know where things might go. And my verticals staying vertical, I'm going to put a little bit of a round detail in that door. Give myself a doorknob. Okay. And again, you can erase anything that you don't want on your drawing, or you can just make bold what you do want to keep. Okay, now for the roof. This gets a little touchy, a little tricky. I'm going to make a peaked roof. So a triangle. There are all kinds of ways to do a roof, but this is the easiest, most simple way. So I'm going to estimate halfway. I'm going to estimate halfway across the top here. And I'm going to draw a very light line halfway up. And that's going to keep me on center. So my triangle for my gabled end is going to end at that line. So that's going to keep that nice and straight. So let me show you what little kids tend to want to do, or people who haven't tried to draw this way. When they draw the roof, they tend to want to go like that. And what that does is make the roof appear to sort of tip out. So if you have a roof that's falling down, it would look like that. But if you want a true straight roof, this is the best way to go about it. Take that middle point, draw straight up with your triangle, and then you'll get a nice true sense of what is vertical. Okay, so to get the back side of this roof, it's really important to get the angle right. So if your angle is at that degree, and you take your ruler and trace that angle and just scoot your ruler down a little bit and mimic that nice parallel angle right there. When you take your orthogonal to the top of the point of that roof, then you've got your angle and you've got it all blocked in perfectly in perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and bold that in. And you do the same thing with the angles if you wanted to show things like shingles or solar panels or skylights or anything like that. So say I want some solar panels on here. I'm going to take that angle, mimic that angle, and then if I want orthogonals or to show what's vertical, I'm going to go from that vanishing point. So you would do shingles that way, like I said. Trying to work the eraser here. You can play around with that, but that's how to get it perfectly in sync with your roof. And then you can do any little fun little details, like I think I'll mimic this round right here, put a little round window in there. So you can kind of play around with this once you get good at getting those orthogonal lines in order and your verticals straight. So the next thing I'm going to do is a sidewalk and a driveway, because this building is sort of floating in space, so I want to ground it a little bit. Little tricky to do those, and the rules of thumb change a little bit. So if I want a driveway coming out from my garage here, I'm going to use my orthogonal lines, but I'm not coming from here because the driveway is going to be going in the wrong direction. I want the driveway to come this way. So I'm going to use this vanishing point over here, and I'm just going to bleep over my building and continue that line. So you can see how that goes straight back. Same thing, I'm going to go from this point B to this point here, so I'm going to draw, bleep over my building because I don't want to erase, and come over here. And if I want to have a little pathway out from the door, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to switch sides. If I want it going this way, I've got to come from point A. So again, the other side. So hopefully you can see how that will kind of ground this a little bit. I'm going to get rid of some of this here because I think it's a little distracting. And I'm just gonna erase. I'm gonna leave my vanishing points, but I'm gonna take away some of that stuff that makes it a little bit messy. Okay, trees, really quickly. This is how you're going to do trees. And what I find generally works pretty well, if you mimic the straightness of your building, that's the straightness of your tree. And your trees are going to get bigger and further apart the closer they get. Now, you can have shrubbery. They don't have to be trees. And I'm just, you can probably make a better tree than I'm making here. But you get the idea. So I'd like you to play around with that concept of tree, because one thing that I find that people do a lot is they make their trees sideways. So oftentimes kids especially, but adults as well, will make, if they want to make their tree, they make it kind of sideways like this. And that tree is leaning. So you want to make sure your trees are really, really vertical, just as vertical as your building. Okay, last little finishing touch here, and then I'm going to let you go. I'm going to put a bit of a background in, and if you remember that drawing we did with a mountain scene, I'm just going to work with what was my horizon line here and put something in the background. And, you know, if I want to live in a mountainscape, then I'm going to do something like that. But I could put, you know, ocean back here, or I could put, you know, any number of things. But that's going to be my background for now. And so you can really see how you can play around with this. And it's, you know, for a 10-minute drawing, this is a pretty quick way to get something down. So have fun with this and give it a try. Thanks for watching.